Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Tuesday. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Tuesday morning, guys. Really quickly, I want to share something with you guys, and then I want to kind of just expand on it in a little bit. So, one of my clients has been trying to get into a certain place. I'll just say it, a certain place. But they were requiring me to get the COVID shot for this particular client, right? But the client did not want to get the COVID shot from their own, admission, as well as they have underlying issues. So we had already made our mind up that just wasn't going to happen. And that's okay. So it was kind of being pressed upon us, like all walls closing in, because we know we needed to get this individual into some place. But each and every one of those places were saying the same thing. They're requiring the COVID vaccination even this far in. And so the walls were just kind of coming in tighter and tighter. And now here the enemy starts playing with my mind. Well, I mean, maybe you can look into getting the COVID shot, right? But I already knew God had told me clear as day, right? Not just with the person wanting, but God had told me clear as day not to get this particular person vaccinated. And I'm not speaking against the vaccination or if I feel like it's right or wrong. I'm just speaking in general. This was their wishes not to get it. And so it was one particular place out of all that I was trying to get them to open the doors. One kept pressing upon me more than the other. Again, they still wanted the vaccination. But I heard God say clear as day that this is the place. This is the place. Regardless if they want the vaccination, this is the place. So I felt it in my spirit that this is the particular place out of the rest of them. So I called in general, maybe like 2 times in the last couple of months, and they were still requiring the vaccination shot. But then a couple of days ago, I heard the Spirit tell me to call. Now, see, this right here is where a lot of people will miss it, because they will feel like, well, I'm not running behind anybody, or maybe they just don't want me. Maybe they're just rejecting me. So all these different things will pop up in your spirit to keep you from pressing on, even though you hear God says, this is it. So it's almost like because you don't see the open door, you just want to feel as if that can't be God, or they just don't want you, they're rejecting you, and you're taking it personal without realizing that it's the enemy who is trying to keep you from the very open doors that God has for you. Some things you're going to have to be persistent and press through. So when I called them earlier last week, and I said, hey, I know you guys are still requiring the vaccination shot. However, do you mind jotting my number down? Because I'm sure at some point it will not be a requirement. And can you just please, notate that you can give us a call, etc., etc. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I think only that was 2 weeks ago. So then last week, I heard the Spirit say, call again. And I was like, Lord, I already tell the people to call me, so why am I going to call them? Right? But see, you got to get your own thinking out of the way. Our own thinking can get us in trouble. Our own thinking can cause us to block the very blessings that God has for us. So we get up in our own minds with our own flesh versus paying very, very close attention to your convictions so you can be obedient, regardless if you feel like you're being a fool, regardless if you feel like you're being triggered, whatever. It's about being obedient to the convictions that you feel. So I was like, Lord, so I was like, God, please let somebody different answer the phone this time. So when I called this past Thursday, the same person answered the phone. I said, oh my, this lady gonna think I am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So I said, hey, it's Kizzy. again. I said, you know, something in my spirit told me to call back. Kizzy, hey, we were just looking for your number and we couldn't find your number. And we were going to call you to let you know that we're no longer requiring the vaccination shot. I said, really? I said, my God. I said, you know, and this is like a Christian establishment, so they get it. I was like, I did not want to call you again because I just felt like, But I said, God told me to call. I didn't even know what I was going to say because I already told you, 2 weeks ago to give me a call. You didn't. And here I'm sitting here thinking you guys just didn't want to call, or just you still were requiring the vaccination shot. And all along, you were looking to call me, but you couldn't find my number. If I hadn't been obedient to call, they would have not been able to even find me to call and say, because they lost my number, to call and say, hey, we're no longer requiring the vaccination shot. When can you bring your patient in? Can you guys come in tomorrow? Boom. In. So you see, the enemy is so tricky that he will keep allowing your flesh to tell you certain things. When you don't see certain doors opening, or you feel like God says do this, or God says go here, move here, say whatever God tells you to do, right? It's almost like we assume that every single thing is just supposed to be easy as pie because God said it. Some things truly are. But there are certain things that you're going to have to allow your convictions and your obedience to override anything that your flesh is telling you. Absolutely anything that your flesh is telling you. So regardless of how you feel you look, you may feel like you're looking like a fool. You may feel like you're running after somebody. You may feel like they're rejecting you because you got some trauma triggers from childhood just popping up. You may feel like this and feel like this and feel like all that is a trick of the enemy. If God said it, it is. I'm not asking, I'm snatching, period. I'm going to be persistent until I get every single thing that God has promised me. Some things take 1 hour, some 1 year, some 1 decade, whatever. If God said it's yours, it's yours. Get up out of your own little beautiful head and stop trying to make things make sense in the physical realm. Pay very, very, very close attention to your convictions. Be very, very adamant about being obedient to whatever God is asking you to do. If I had messed around and allow my flesh or my impatience to override what God had told me no about the vaccination, and I had just got it done all because the doors were pressing in, or all because I'm just getting frustrated, well, I'm just going to get the shot. Child, who knows what that shot would have done just because of my disobedience? All because my disobedience and my lack of patience of trying to ignore what God said because I ain't got time. Because I really ain't got time. I want to share that with you guys. It's time to get serious, guys. Again, I know some people are very timid, meek. Doesn't make you listen. We all just have different personality types, right? Because there are days I wish I had your meekness. Trust me when I say, well, I know how to be meek, when to be meek, but just overall, right? But overall, I'm so grateful and thankful that God has designed me to be the very determined, persistent person that I am, because that's what it takes a lot of the times when you are pressing upon certain blessings. But in this season, some of you guys are going to have to literally, verbally ask God for strength in certain areas. So whatever the area is, ask God for strength within that fear. You're going to need it. I'm serious. Like, it's so heavy in my spirit. You have to have strength in certain areas where you can really push past that fear. It's a must. It's a must. I wanted to share that. You guys have a great one. It's your girl.